Hello, dear friends, and welcome back to HeartTouch Stories, the channel where simple acts of kindness come alive through stories that will warm your soul. Have you ever wondered what someone would sacrifice for the sake of another? Sometimes it isn't money, fame, or even strength. Sometimes it is something as small, yet as precious, as a blanket on a cold night. Today, we bring you a story that proves love is measured not by what we keep, but by what we are willing to give away. Stay with me until the end, because the lesson hidden in this story might just change the way you see kindness forever. It was the middle of winter in a small, forgotten town. The wind howled through the narrow streets, and the air was filled with the sting of bitter cold. People wrapped themselves tightly in coats and scarves, hurrying to reach the safety of their warm homes. But not everyone had a home to return to. Among them was a mother, thin, weary, and yet carrying a quiet strength. Her clothes were worn, her shoes barely held together, and her hands were cracked from the cold. Beside her walked her young son, no older than 7. He clutched her hand, his lips trembling as he tried to hide his shivers. The mother carried with her only one true possession, a thick, faded blanket. It was old, patched in several places, yet it held warmth. To her, it was not just fabric. It was survival. That night, the two of them found shelter near the entrance of an abandoned building. The floor was hard, the air icy, and the night sky merciless. She wrapped her son in the blanket, tucking it around his small body like a cocoon. "Are you warm enough, my love?" she whispered. The boy nodded, though his eyes showed the truth. He was still cold, but he didn't want his mother to worry. The mother sat beside him, shivering. She had nothing to shield herself but her own thin clothes. Every gust of wind pierced her body like needles. Still, she pulled the blanket tighter around her son and forced a smile. Hours passed. The boy drifted into uneasy sleep while the mother stayed awake, watching. Her body was shaking violently from the cold, but her heart was steady. For her, the greatest comfort was knowing her son was safe, even if she was not. Then, as the night grew darker, something unexpected happened. From across the street, another figure appeared. It was an old woman, frail, hunched, and barefoot. Her clothes were torn, and she carried nothing with her. She stopped near the abandoned building, coughing, her breath clouding in the cold air. The mother noticed her and immediately understood. This woman had no warmth, no protection at all. She was weaker than both of them, and every moment in the freezing night was pulling her closer to death. The mother looked at her son, wrapped tightly in the blanket, sleeping peacefully for the first time in days. She then looked at the shivering old woman, leaning against the wall, her body curling into itself. A choice stood before her: keep the blanket for her son and herself, or give it away to someone who might not survive the night without it. Her hands trembled as she reached for the blanket. She hesitated, knowing the risk, but her heart already knew the answer. Slowly, gently, she lifted the blanket from her son. Careful not to wake him, she draped her own thin shawl over him instead. It wasn't much, but it was all she had left. Then, quietly, she walked over to the old woman. Without a word, she wrapped the blanket around her frail shoulders. The old woman's eyes widened. Tears immediately filled them as warmth returned to her body. She tried to protest, shaking her head, But the mother only smiled. "You need it more than we do," she said softly. Her voice was weak, but her kindness was strong. The old woman's lips quivered. Why would you give this to me? You have a child." The mother simply placed a hand over her heart. "Because no one should suffer alone. Tonight, you are not forgotten." She turned back, sat beside her son, and shivered in the cold. But despite the chill, she felt a strange warmth inside her. The warmth of love, of sacrifice, of knowing she had chosen compassion over comfort. But what happened when morning came? What became of the mother, her son, and the old woman? When the sun finally rose, the boy awoke to see his mother trembling, her lips blue. He rushed to her, trying to wrap his small arms around her for warmth. The old woman, now alive and stronger because of the blanket, understood the price that had been paid for her survival. With tears streaming down her face, she vowed never to forget the mother's kindness. She later told others in the town about the sacrifice she had witnessed. That story spread, reaching hearts far and wide. The mother didn't give away her blanket because she had much. She gave it away because she understood that kindness isn't about what we own. It's about what we are willing to share, even when we have little. And sometimes, the smallest act of compassion can create ripples that reach far beyond what we can see. The mother's gift that night was more than a blanket. It was hope. It was humanity. It was love in its purest form. So remember this. True wealth is not measured by possessions, but by the warmth we bring to others. Thank you, dear friends, for staying with us through this heartfelt journey. If this story touched you, please share it with someone who might need a reminder of the power of kindness. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to HeartTouch Stories, and ring the bell so you never miss another story that can brighten your soul. Until we meet again, may your days be filled with compassion, and may your heart always remain warm, even on the coldest nights. Goodbye for now, with love from HeartTouch Stories.